This is the cheapest BMW G31 on YouTube, and keeping with that theme, I've picked up the cheapest 19-inch wheels I could find on Marketplace, and let's just say they need some work. In this video we are finding out if you can actually MIG weld alloy rims, and not just that, fixing the damage, giving them a full refurb, and seeing how they look on the G31. You know, we cannot have 5 Series BMW with M5 body kit rocking the stock wheels. These are 17-inch, they are so narrow, you can see they are inside the wing quite a lot. Same goes for the rear one. Look at how tucked in the wheel is. I have something special. Take a look at that. Yep, these are the wheels I'm gonna put on the car, given that I can repair them. You can clearly see that all of them need full refurb. They have the normal valves. I'll put the tire pressure monitor valves, and one of the rear wheels needs some extra work. It's this one. Yep, this one has not one but 2 cracks, so I'm gonna try to weld them, and I'll weld them with my 60 pounds MIG welder from Marketplace. Polish MIG welder. That's why I wrote wire here and A here, so that's for amperage, that's for wire, because I keep forgetting what's doing what. This is for MMA. So I cannot weld aluminium with MIG welder as it is, so I need to modify it a little bit. To weld aluminium with MIG welder, I need 100% argon gas, I need aluminium welding wire, bigger tips, and Teflon liner for the torch. Let's see what it takes to replace the liner of the torch, and we'll try to weld some aluminium. I believe I should start from here. Okay, I have wire inside. I bought the rims from Marketplace for 70 pounds with a set of brand new tires. So I'll sell the tires for more than I bought the rims with tires, and basically these rims will be free. Okay, so on this end we have that. That's just some screw-in thingy. Okay, so the Teflon liner is way longer. This one came with this thing as well. Let me feed that one through. It popped out from this side. This is really stiff aluminium wire, guys. People are saying that this can start wrinkle and stuff, but I don't think so. So I want to do a cheeky little test weld on the damaged crash bar I removed from the car. It's complete aluminium. The torch cable must be as straight as possible, so there will be no nesting of the wire. And we need to remove the oxidized layer of the aluminium before we start welding. Okay, I think this is clean enough. And I'll also heat up the area with the blowtorch to make sure it's nice and hot before I start welding. Let's see. Okay, I can hear the gas going. Woo, wish me luck, guys. Okay, this sounded weird, but actually we have something that resembles weld. Okay, I'll increase the amperage a little bit and the wire speed. Oh no, the fuse dropped. What's going on? No, that's not fun. What the f? Okay guys, I did quite a lot of test tries here on this aluminum piece. All of them look different. Here I burned through the material, but I finally dialed the welder in. These here are 3 welds side by side. You can see there are 0 bubbles in them. So I think these are the settings I'm gonna use. I discovered that one of the most important things to get proper welds is to get the metal really hot. If it's not hot enough, you get something like this or like this. Once I did a lot of welds, this got really hot, and these are the last 3 welds here next to each other. So let's prepare the rim and try to weld it. I'm not sure how well you can see this. Right there is the end of the crack. So I need to drill a hole here right after the edge of the crack to prevent the crack from spreading even further. And then I need to take my angle grinder and make a cut all the way to the hole, and then fill up this space after I heat up the wheel. Same goes for this crack here. You can see it's nice and long going all the way, and it stops in here somewhere. Okay, so my brother is an engineer and he told me to make a cut like that and not weld the whole thing on one go, to do it in 2 or 3 goes. I'll show you on the screen what he sent me. Yeah, so basically this is V shape, and I'll do first weld on the bottom, then one on top, and one filler one on the very top. Let's see if this will work out. The most important thing is to clean the surface really well and to heat it up really well, really well. The hotter it is, the smaller the chances for the weld to have cracks in it, because of the temperature difference, and when the weld cools down it shrinks and it can crack. But if the whole area is hot and it's cooling down at the same time, then smaller chance for cracks. Fingers crossed I'll get it right the first time. Okay, this should be hot enough. Wish me luck, guys. Okay, we have a weld. And now while it's still hot, I'll go for another layer. I'll try to do spot welds on this side. So now I'll grind the weld and we'll inspect for holes inside the weld. Actually, to my surprise, I don't see any holes inside the weld. You can see there are no holes. What? That's nice. It means I had good gas environment. Now let's grind this side up and we'll see how it's gonna look. Okay, looks alright on this side as well. Okay, it's another day. It turns out you can weld rims with MIG welder. I don't see any visible cracks anymore. This is where the cracks were. This is how it looks on the other side. Another thing that needs fixing on this rim is this buckle here. So looking at the rest of the rim, looks alright. Definitely we need to fully refurb, but I'll try to straighten this buckle here now. I'll heat up the area and just hammer it. It's not perfect, but it's not buckled anymore. You can see the buckle was in here, and now it looks somewhat good. All this edge, it will be sanded nearly fully, so that's why I don't worry so much about this. because I don't want to put body filler on the rims, maybe only on one spot, I think, in here. Other than that, I'll sand the scratches fully flush. This got a bit charred, so let's see if we can cut it off. That was easy. Again, I'm removing the valves because I'll put tire pressure monitor valves, so these are not good for me. To try to get off the curb brush of the wheels, I'll use rotary polisher with 60 grit sandpaper. This is only spinning, it's not DA, and hopefully we'll cut this off. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of diamond cut wheels that have diamond cut like that, so I'll paint the whole rim black gloss and I'll see how this looks. If it looks weird, then I'll use small wire brush attachment for the Dremel, and I'll remove the paint from these areas here, but we'll see how it's gonna look. Okay, so this is how the curb brush looks now. I had to do a little bit of a 45-degree angle right at the edge to make it not so sharp, because when I sand it down this way, this edge becomes really sharp. That's why I made that small rounded edge, and actually it helped cleaning up some of the curb brush on the outside. But to be honest, this looks really nice. I used the spokes. I use this edge of the spokes as a reference. When I see even grinded area on the spokes, I know that the outer lip is quite straight. Bear in mind that whole rim will be painted with 2K primer, so it will fill up tiny imperfections. Considering how it used to look, I think now it looks way better. Okay, next stage will be to prepare the rims and paint them, but normally scuffing up the old paint will be enough to apply the new paint on top, but in my case you can see how the clear coat is flaking off, so I suppose these wheels have base coat and clear coat on top, but the clear coat is flaking off in really disgusting way. So that's why I'm not sure if I just scuff up this paint and spray my new one on top will be good enough and it won't start flaking later. So that's why I'll use paint stripper and strip all the paint here on the face of the rim. But I can help the paint stripper with compressed air, and look at what happens here on the old clear coat. You see? So I'll go around all rims and try to remove as much of the clear coat with the compressed air, and after that we'll remove the center caps, we'll remove the weights on all rims and as well the old glue, and after that we'll apply paint stripper on all wheels. Okay, so now all the weights and glue residue is gone. That's the first time I'm using paint stripper, guys, so here it looks like it's pretty straightforward. It says just to apply it with a brush on a thick layer, wait 1 hour, reapply again. First I'll apply it here, a thick layer on the bottom of the spokes, because you can see it's flaking off at some areas, and I'll be applying up until here, up until that lip, and do that on all 4 rims. Let me see. What? That's thick. What is this? Anyway, let's go. I'll try to be quick. I'm not sure if it's bad for the garage floor. I didn't put nothing underneath. Hopefully I'm not gonna regret this. Third rim. I'm not sure how good this paint stripper is though. I thought that the paint stripper would smell like acetone or something, but no, at least this one doesn't. Okay, so all the rims are fully covered up. On the instructions it says apply generously on one coat and then wait 1 hour and apply one more generous coat and leave it until all the paint is penetrated. So far I don't see nothing happening, no bubbling of the paint, no nothing, so I don't know. Maybe this paint stripper is not that good. Okay, 1 hour have passed. I don't see nothing happening actually. But the instruction says apply one more thick coat, so that's what I'll do, but I have the weird feeling that I'm gonna regret what I'm doing, so let's see. I'll apply one more coat and we'll see how the wheels look tomorrow. Okay, now this time around I was very generous. I applied as much as I could. I used up the whole bottle, so we'll see how the wheels will look tomorrow. Hopefully I'll finally see some wrinkled paint or flaking, or I don't know what I should see. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Okay, it's another day and I have to say I'm disappointed because this paint stripper didn't go all the way to the bare metal. In some places did. You can see here I already tried to scrub it a little bit, but in so many other cases no. Like here for example. When I start rubbing you can still see that it's not coming off. I don't know, I'm not really happy. I'll go and buy one more bottle. You can see here. It flaked off the clear coat but not the base coat underneath. I'll go and buy one more bottle of a different paint stripper from Screwfix and I'll brush it on and we'll see if it will work better. Okay, this is what I bought from Screwfix. Hopefully it's better than that shite I used before. So now I'll scrape off whatever flaked off. You can see a little bit of flaking off in there. And I'll apply the new one in. Hopefully it will work better. There was one comment of a guy said that he stripped a whole door with this within an hour. So hopefully this is way stronger than that rubbish. Oh no, that smells the same way as the other one. Hopefully now when I apply another coat on already scraped off surface, hopefully it will work better. We'll see. Another thick layer of this not so good paint stripper and we'll wait now. I don't wanna wait, but we need to wait. And this time around I'll pressure wash it with my attachment for very high pressure. So hopefully more paint will flake off. This is biodegradable product, so it should be safe to pressure wash it outside. So, more than an hour have passed. Not much happened. So I'll wash off this rubbish and I'll try this thing. I bought yet another paint stripper. It says here that you can start scraping literally after 10-15 minutes. And this one is flammable and acidic. That's exactly what we want. Fast acting. I have 2 cans, hopefully that will be enough. But first, let me rinse this shit and we'll go from there. Okay, so this is how the wheels look after pressure washing. Not much of a difference, to be honest. Some of the paint went, but majority is still there. Maybe this is for water-based paints. Actually, I don't know what is the paint on the rims. If it's acetone-based or water-based, but this definitely doesn't work for my rims. So hopefully this one will do it for me. In theory, in 10 to 15 minutes, you should be able to start scraping it off. Let's see. I also dried up the wheels actually, so there will be no water on them. And actually for this one I'll use my aspirator because it's a spray can and it's flammable, so I suppose it has some sort of acetone or alcohol in it. Okay, here comes nothing. Okay, that's definitely doing some sort of reaction. Okay, it's been about half an hour since I sprayed this in. I don't think this is active anymore. So let's see if it did something to the paint. Okay, it's removing it. I still need to scrape it. Okay, so I still have some paint stripper left. So what I'll do, I'll go around and scrape off whatever is loose and then spray it again. Now take a look at that. I'm just kidding. This paint stripper can get the rims only to this stage. Maybe if I have spent like 10 cans, it would completely strip off the paint, but remember at the beginning when I said I have the weird feeling that I'm gonna regret what I'm doing? Yeah, this confirms now. That's a lot of scrubbing to get the rim to this stage. To say that this was a lot of grinding is understatement. I've spent hours and hours grinding that paint off. I would not recommend you to do that if you're planning to buff the aluminium and not putting primer or anything else on top, because sometimes the wire brush is leaving deep scratches on the surface of the aluminium. But in my case, I'll be putting high build primer on all wheels and then sand them and then paint them on top, so I can do that. But it was a lot of work. I propped the rims on these stands I made for spraying the wings. First I'll spray them on the inside, one thick coat, and then I'll flip them around and spray them on top. But before I do that, I'll wipe them all with alcohol. Now I'll show you one trick how to save your paint instead of blowing it in the air to minimize the waste. So when you spray narrow stuff like that, you need to dial down the fan of the spray gun, otherwise it will spray in larger area and all of your paint will go on the floor or in the air somewhere. So basically you want your spray pattern to be like that. With this knob here you adjust the fan, so you'll see the big difference. You see how now it's more spread. I'll spray all the ribs with the small fan and then I'll increase it when I spray paint the large area. You can squeeze lightly the trigger without releasing any paint, just to blow off any dust that may just landed on your item. I'm just making sure the whole surface is covered. And I'll just do one coat on the bottom. Okay, all the wheels are primered on the inside. Now I'll flip them around. In ideal world you would wait a few hours for this to get completely dry before you flip them over, but it's already 15 past 11 in the evening. I want to spray the other side to do at least 2 coats on the other side, and I want to sand them tomorrow, so that's why I have no time to wait. I'll flip them around and spray them on the other side now. Okay, now take a look at that. The wheels look amazing, guys. I remember that there was this massive gouge here, small dent, another one here. All this must be taken care of with a little bit of body filler. And there is one more in here, but other than that, Do you remember how messed up these wheels were? And now look at them. I really like how the primer has a little bit of grain to it. But obviously the ultimate goal is to spray these wheels gloss black. So next stage will be, as usual, put a little bit of guide coat on and wet sanding with 600 grit sandpaper. This time around I'm not gonna use base coat and clear coat, I'll use direct gloss paint, which is basically combination of clear coat and base coat. I never sprayed direct gloss before. Well, technically I have with spray cans, but not from a paint gun. And as far as I know, this can run really easy, and that's my favorite part, runs. So I'll be very careful. I'll focus the fan pattern to be smaller area, so I'll see exactly where the paint is going. So it's unknown if I can pull it off, but you know me guys, I like to learn stuff, not just take it to someone else to do it for me. So let's go. Before I start wet sanding, I'll mark up all the little imperfections that need a little bit of body filler on, like here, and then I'll wet sand the body filler together with all the rest. Okay, so only 2 wheels need a little bit of body filler and all the rest are good to go. By covering the rim in guide coat, basically allows me to see where I have sanded and where I haven't. So the paint will have way higher chance to stick properly without peeling on a sanded surface. Okay, now if you think sanding cars is annoying, try sand some rims. And these are actually relatively easy to sand, but you have all these nooks and crannies on them and you need to get in every single corner to prepare them. Let's just say it's not the quickest job in the world. It took me about 1 to 1.5 hours per rim. On top of that, I prepared all this for painting as well, because I'll use exactly the same paint. I'll use direct gloss paint, which should be stronger. That's basically clear coat and base coat mixed together. So I'll spray the vents for the wings, these two as well. This sits between the kidney grills, and these are the trims for the window. I sand them down. I don't like the idea of having 1K paint on the car, so that's why I'll paint it with 2K paint as well. Okay, so this time around I have hazmat suit. I thought they are way more expensive, but I paid 3 quid for that, and hopefully it will save a lot of dust specks. I'm gonna use this Pro Touch 2K Jet Black Gloss. We need to mix it 2 to 1 and add 15% thinner. I'll be really careful to not have any runs, because buffing the rims will be literally impossible. I'd rather have some orange peel than have runs this time around, so we'll see how it goes. So on the cup you can see, I'll put it up to here with paint, then hardener up to 1, and then I'll add 15% of thinner, and we'll see how the paint will spray. Okay, now this is jet black. That's like black. Smells really strong. That's how I like it. I'll use the same paint to paint the roof of the car, and we'll see how good it is. I'll add just 10%, not 15, because I don't see a line on the 15 mark. Plus I don't want it really runny. Hopefully the paint will be covering nicely. Okay, it's been 1 hour since I painted the rims. I have to say there is some amount of rubbish in the paint. So my hazmat suit didn't completely prevent any kinds of rubbish sticking to the paint, but it's good for the most part, honestly. And this black is really black actually. So now everything is dry to the touch. I didn't even try to get the rear of the wheels glossy. I didn't even sand them properly because I'll be focusing more on the front of the rims. But I tried to get these quite glossy, and I have to say they are, for the most part, if we don't count the dust specks in the paint. So now I'll take this outside, I'll flip the rims, and I'll paint the face of the rims. Right, so the reason why I took this out is because when I start spraying inside, all that paint that is flying in the air will start sticking to this, and I got them quite glossy, so I want them to remain glossy. Honestly, I don't think I'll be buffing this up. Maybe if I see a dust speck like this one here, maybe just slightly buff this up, but actually I'm quite happy. And there are no runs, 0 runs, guys. Can you believe that? For such a glossy finish, let's say like this one, it will look really nice on the wings. Guys, I put a lot of effort into making these videos, so if you're enjoying it, please consider subscribing. Okay guys, it's another day, and I have to say the wheels look quite alright. I had issues again with some water spitting from the compressor. I need to take care of that because in here you can see a little bit of like a misting and stuff. Maybe I'll try to buff this, maybe not, we'll see. But I have to say the wheels look quite good, all of them. They have nice gloss. There is some rubbish in the paint, still some dust specks here and there, but these are rims, let's not forget that. It's 1:15 and I have an appointment to mount the tires on the rims at 2 o'clock, so I need to be quite hurry. I have new tire pressure monitor sensors for all rims, and I have new wheel caps. I also put tape here around the lip of the rim, so when they are mounting the new tire, they won't scratch the fresh paint. Each tire pressure sensor has its own ID. I wrote these numbers on sticky labels, and I'll put each one on each rim, so after we have the tires on, I'll know which ID is for which wheel, and we'll see how we're gonna go about it, programming the new TPMS sensors. Alright guys, I made it back from the tire shop. We have all 4 tires mounted. I used tires that I had laying around from another set of frames. Unfortunately, this one is not good. It had like massive bulge on the side, so I'll have to buy another tire for this one. But these 3 rims can go on the car. I can't wait to see how they're gonna look on the car. But first, you see this silver valve here? Let's fix this up. So because I forgot to paint this black, I came up with a solution. I cut myself heat shrinks. So the heat shrink will go over it. Now let's shrink it and we'll see what will happen. Yeah, so now it's black. I have these wheel caps. Normally M Sport rims have this logo somewhere here on the center, but because my car doesn't have the recessed area for it, that's why I'll put these caps on. Let me see how I'm gonna go about the center caps, because they're really hard to be inserted. I'll put a little bit of grease. Hopefully this will help me. I measured it, it looks the right diameter, but now we have a little bit of paint there, so maybe this is the reason. I'll try to push it straight down. Just feels wrong. These are not original caps, so maybe that's why. What? What's going on? Stay! Something isn't right. Oh man. Okay, let's try something else. So, the new wheel caps I ordered, they have different design comparing to the ones that were on the rims. And these don't fit. But you can see that these are quite battered. So what I'll do, I'll just transfer the front aluminum piece to this wheel cap. I'm just making sure it's all the way in, all around. And now I'll just tap in the edge a little bit, because then we're changing the outer diameter. Nice. Now I got the stickers for the brake calipers, but they're quite filthy. So last time I tried just by rubbing this, but it didn't work, so I'll use this wheel cleaner. I think this is brake dust, that's why I didn't want to come off. Okay, now this was brake dust, that's why I didn't want to come off before. Now I'll dry it up and wipe it with alcohol to make sure that the sticker will stick nicely in there. Now a little bit of alcohol to clean just where the sticker will stick. Okay, I can hear it squeaking, so that's what we want. So this is 110 millimeters. The sticker is 60 millimeters. So 110 minus 60 is 50, divided by 2, 25. Let's see if my math is good. So that's one side and that's the other. Yeah, I think that's about right. We need to make sure the sticker stays on the transfer foil, right in between the marks. Okay, now this looks really good. Look at that. Nice. Okay guys, I didn't tell you about that, but the wheels we just refurbed are not for BMW G30 and G31. They are for older generation BMWs, and they have both pattern 5x120, but the G series have 5x112. That's why I'll put spacer adapters. Basically, you screw this into the hub with the 5x112 lugs, and then the distance between this is 5x120. The spacers came with their own lugs, which are a bit shorter than the original BMW ones. The torque settings for the lug nuts is 140 Newton meters. Okay, now this looks good, man. Look at that. That looks so good. But because of the spacers, we are nearly flush with the wing. So we'll see how it's gonna fit when I lower the car down. Let's slap the rear in. Okay, now is the moment of truth. Will the wheels fit the car? Let's lower it to the ground and we'll see. Now this is aggressive fit, really aggressive. The rear one. If we look down this side, it's right at this line here. That's perfect fit in the rear. Will the car rub? That's the question. I think now it's lifted a bit too much. Let me undo the handbrake, move the car forward, backward a little. Just in case you're wondering how I'm pressing the brake pedal, I use this mop handle. Okay, now let's release the handbrake and move a little bit forward, backward. Okay, Now this looks beefy, bro. What? Look at that. Oh yeah. Nice. Actually the front is sticking out a bit more than the rear, like a drift car. And I think this is solely because this tire has this really thick sidewall here and it's sticking out way more than the rear one, but it looks nice in my opinion. Wow. Now actually I need to recalibrate the suspension because the car doesn't know it has 19-inch rims. So there is a procedure I can do with ESIS to measure the distance from the wheel arch to the bottom of the rim, and I need to recalibrate the suspension. It will lift up the rear a little bit. Yeah, we need to take the car for a test drive to see if it will rub or not. Now take a look at that, guys. I gave the car a quick wash and I have to say the rims look amazing, and the fitment, I mean, that's super good, man. Front one are poking out a bit too much for my taste, so I think I need to run narrower tires in the front so they'll be stretched like the rear ones. So I cannot run square setup, unfortunately. Thank God my car is not X-Drive, because then it will be a big trouble. But yeah, I think narrower tires in the front, the rear one are perfect, and we'll have zero chance to rub. So if I go over a big bump, I think 100% the wheel will be rubbing on the wing in here, unfortunately. It might not rub, but I'm not sure how much this compresses. If it gets all the way to here, maybe it will start rub. I don't know. We need new tires all around anyway, because these tires are quite old, and hopefully I will squeeze a year out of them, or maybe not, but we'll see. But I have to say the white brake caliper looks really nice against the black rim. Look at it. Same goes for the rear caliper. How cool is that? Couple more things we need to do. So this car has air suspension in the rear. We need to recalibrate that because the car doesn't know it has 19-inch rims. So I'll show you how to do that in a second, and we'll go for a test drive to see how the car behaves with these 19-inch rims. So in the iDrive screen we need to go to vehicle settings. No, we need to go to vehicle status. In tire settings we need to change to 19-inch tires. Loaded, what's that? I want them on comfort, partially loaded, comfort, confirm settings, and now we need to drive the car to calibrate the pressure. So it says here recommended pressure 2.4 for the front and 2.6 for the rear, but we need to drive off to get this sorted. But first I want to calibrate the suspension because the car is squatting too much in the rear, and let's see if we can do that. Diagnostic mode active. You can actually see that my car has M Sport suspension. Here we can check that in vehicle equipment. So this is everything that the car came with. You can see it, you can pause it if you're interested into stuff like that. Anyway, let's go to vehicle management, service functions, and let's see, chassis and suspension. Okay, so it's in vertical dynamics platform. So we go to right height adjustment, right height sensor start up, I think. Let's see. Here it shows what we should measure from the edge of the wheel arch to the end of the rim. Continue service function. We have 19-inch rims. Continue. So measure the current ride height on the... What? Front left? We're measuring the front as well? We measure to the bottom of the rim, and to here it's 642 millimeters. 642. Continue. So now we need to do the rear left. Rear left is 610. 610. Rear right is next. That's 600. We enter 600. And now the front right. And that's 645. 645. Continue. Okay, in the next step the right height will be written in the VDP control unit. Continue. The current right heights are stored in the VDP. Continue service function. So now the values will be written to the body control module, BDC I think. The ride height was successfully stored in BDC. Now let's see if the car will recognize the new tire pressure sensors. It says to drive off. First time driving the car with the new instrument cluster and the new rims. Okay, it feels smooth. This is counting. Okay, so resetting is keep going. This is how the cruise control looks on this instrument cluster. It's quite nice. So it looks like the car automatically learned the new sensors, which is really nice. Actually, I was surprised, but yeah. The driver side rear tire is low pressure, so let's pump it up and we'll see if it will recognize that. Okay, after pumping up the tire you can see that it's showing the correct pressure, which is really nice. Guys, I'm super happy to say that the car doesn't rub at all. It's driving amazing. It's nice and quiet. Even though this setup is so aggressive, the tires doesn't rub. I even went over a small jump and I didn't hear no rubbing, no nothing. Refurbishing and repairing car wheels could be a proper challenge. It takes time, patience and a bit of risk. But when you get it right, it completely transforms the car's look. So, what do you think? Do these wheels suit the G31? Or would you have gone for a different style? Honestly, for around £100 all in, I couldn't have asked for more. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and special thanks to our VIP members for the support. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.